Good morning, everyone. Just a quick update here. Nothing too spectacular, let's say, is going on. Pretty much what we might expect. You can probably see a few interesting patterns in here, maybe cup and handle with a retest. Looks pretty bullish. We also have what might look like a reverse head and shoulders, which played out, came back, retested, and now continue. We can make up all sorts of nice patterns and shapes. This is on the 17-hour time scale. Daily time scale doesn't look that much different. 8-hour, no matter what we look at it's fitting the mark. We got it appears people are kind of aiming around next week should be some updates to the trading algorithms, at least on the high level that we can see playing out in the charts right now. We're riding my trend line, which again, what you see here, I look at the charts and imagine that someone needs to program a bot to trade for them and make decisions. And in fact, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of bots doing something similar. And we tend to reflect in the charts what is actually being played out by those bots. And so when we have resistance, boom, the bots are in place. They're selling a bit here, and then here they say no. If we reach this, completely flush my position, and that's this guy. I mean, these are large liquidity events, and they tend to meet in these perfect little ratios. This is GAN is essentially representing something similar to the golden ratio, but in a slightly different form over time. Which, of course, if you just do fibs, we have fibs here. This is the golden ratio already. Right here, this line here, the blue and the gold. And so we are coming up on it. So we can see, the fib lines are represented here horizontally. Time is not really considered rising or falling, but we tend to move towards a point in the future is kind of my thesis. And so what I'm trying to do is look for those points which show themselves in the past so that we can deduce potentially where the big players are and try to understand how each of those players is trading. Short term, I'm asking myself, is it time to sell when we hit the golden pocket? Will we manage to get through the golden pocket, come back, retest, and then continue our journey? Or are we going to go ahead and get rejected here, which seems to be more likely, given that this is the first stretch of 30 days where we've had a green month, I believe, in quite some time. We can check that. Indeed, last month was the first green month I see for some time. So, well, can we continue to push this trend? We'll see. We can also tell that from a slightly shorter time frame that we did manage overnight in the past 6 hours to bounce off of what appears to be a resistance line that I haven't charted out yet to figure out into where in the future it goes and comes from and its other lines. But it's pretty clear that we are hitting resistance at 2475, 750, as we have multiple times around this point in the past, and it is rising again. So we would expect there's someone moving, in the future up to the top right with a Gann fan, so we can kind of play with that. For example, if we want to do that just right now on the spot, we might want to look and see, okay, this angle's here, it's getting sharper, which means actually, it's going to be more likely to be a bigger move. So let's see, I have the color wrong. So where might we find, so yep, and we bounced off the resistance and we turned it into support potentially. I mean, this is rough, obviously. Maybe that fits a bit better. That's both support, and if we, yeah, this looks a little closer, but maybe in fact it's more like that. So what might we see? We might see this pop come into a rising wedge and then fall out to retest. And again, the line in the sand right now is 24,750. If we can turn that into support, then we're going to likely continue on towards the upper resistance here, longer term resistance, which we can see in these orange lines that I have here. They're very simple. Don't need anything more complex than a few lines to show us where we're playing, where the sandbox boundaries are. Of course, the volatility within there is going to be intense, and I do believe the next week is likely to be even more volatile than we have seen up to this point. We're seeing 4 or 5% moves over the past week, back and forth. It's pretty seesaw-y, but at some point we can hope that this line will be held and we will start making progress back towards retouching the upper resistance. And let's say it's going to be a week from now. So a week from now, range 27.5 to 24.5 in an ideal world. 24, we could even say 28 to 24. It's a huge range, 28 to 24, 10%, plus minus 10 to 12%. So let's do this. Got any big trades coming up? What's your plan for the week?